Mammal, class Mammalia, any member of the group of vertebrate animals in which the young are nourished with milk from special mammary glands of the mother. In addition to these characteristic milk glands, mammals are distinguished by several other unique features. Here is a typical mammalian feature. Although in many whales it has disappeared except in the fetal stage, the mammalian lower jaw is hinged directly to the skull instead of through a separate bone, the quadrate, as in all other vertebrates. A chain of three tiny bones transmits sound waves across the middle ear. A muscular diaphragm separates the heart and the lungs from the abdominal cavity. Only the left aortic arch persists. In birds, the right aortic arch persists. In reptiles, amphibians, and fishes, both arches are retained. Mature red blood cells, erythrocytes, in all mammals lack a nucleus. All other vertebrates have nucleated red blood cells. Except for the monotremes, an egg-laying order of mammals comprising echidnas and the duck-billed platypus, all mammals are viviparous. They barely live young. In the placental mammals, which have a placenta to facilitate nutrient and waste exchange between the mother and the developing fetus, the young are carried within the mother's womb, reaching a relatively advanced stage of development before birth. The class Mammalia is worldwide in distribution. It has been said that mammals have a wider distribution and are more adaptable than any other single class of animals, with the exception of certain less complex forms such as arachnids and insects. This versatility in exploring Earth is attributed in large part of the ability of mammals to regulate their body temperatures and internal environment, both in excessive heat and aridity and in severe cold. General features: diversity. The evolution of the class Mammalia has produced tremendous diversity in form and habit. Living kinds range in size from a bat weighing less than a gram and tiny shrews weighing but a few grams to the largest animal that has ever lived, the blue whale, which reaches a length of more than 30 meters, 100 feet, and a weight of 180 metric tons, nearly 200 short tons. Every major habitat has been exploited by mammals that swim, fly, run, burrow, glide, or climb. There are more than 5,500 species of living mammals, arranged in about 125 families and as many as 27 to 29 orders. Familial and ordinal groupings sometimes vary among authorities. The rodents, order Rodentia, are the most numerous of existing mammals in both number of species and number of individuals and are one of the most diverse of living lineages. In contrast, the order Tubulidentata is represented by a single living species, the aardvark. Importance to humans. Wild and domesticated mammals are so interlocked with our political and social history that it is impractical to attempt to assess the relationship in precise economic terms. Throughout our own evolution, for example, humans have depended on other mammals for food and clothing. Domestication of mammals have to provide a source of protein for ever increasing human populations and provided means of transportation and heavy work as well. Today, domesticated strains of the house mouse, European rabbit, guinea pig, hamster, gerbil, and other species provide much needed laboratory subjects for the study of human related physiology, psychology, and a variety of diseases from dental caries to cancer. The study of non-human primates, monkeys, and apes have opened broad new areas of research relevant to human welfare. The care of domestic and captive mammals is, of course, the basis for the practice of veterinary medicine. Defended against other members of the same species. As a generalization, it may be said that territoriality is more important in the behavior of birds than of mammals, but data for the latter are available primarily for diurnal species. Frequently, territories of mammals are marked either with urine or with secretions of specialized glands, as in lemurs. This form of territorial labeling is less evident to humans than the singing or visual display of birds. Many mammals that do not maintain territories per se, nevertheless, will not permit unlimited crowding and will fight to maintain individual distance. Such mechanisms result in more economically spacing of individuals over the available habitat. Mammals may react to environmental extremes with acclimatization, compensatory behavior, or physiological specialization. One way for the mammal to endure stressful environmental conditions is to become dormant. Dormancy is the general term that relates to the reduced metabolic activity adopted by many organisms under conditions of environmental stress. Dormancy is differentiated from sleep, which is not necessarily a response to environmental stress but rather occurs as part of an organism's daily rest cycle. Physiological responses to adverse conditions include torpor, hibernation in winter, and estivation in summer. Torpor is a type of dormancy that may occur in the daily cycle or during unfavorable weather. Short-term torpor is generally economical only for small mammals that can cool and warm rapidly. The body temperatures of most temperature zone bats drop near that of the ambient air whenever the animal sleeps. The winter dormancy of bears at high latitudes is an analogous phenomenon and cannot be considered true hibernation. Inactivity in response to adverse summer conditions, heat, drought, lack of food, is termed estivation. Estivation in some species is simply prolonged rest, usually in a favorable microhabitat. In other species, estivating mammals regulate their metabolism, although the effects are typically not as pronounced as in hibernation. Behavioral response to adverse conditions may involve the selection or construction of a suitable microhabitat, such as the cool, moist burrows of desert rodents. Migration is the second kind of behavioral response. The most obvious kind of mammalian migration is latitudinal. Many temperate zone bats, for example, undertake extensive migrations, although other bat species hibernate near their summer foraging grounds in caves or other equable shelters during severe. Aside from pelts and meat, special parts of some mammals regularly have been sought for their special attributes. Rhinoceros horn is used for concocting potions in Eastern Asia. Ivory from elephants and walruses is highly prized, and ambergris, a substance regurgitated by sperm whales, was once widely used as a base for perfumes. Some animals are directly detrimental to human activities. House rats and mice of Old World origin now occur virtually throughout the world and each year cause substantial damage and economic loss. Herbivorous mammals may eat or trample crops and compete with livestock for food, and native carnivores sometimes prey on domestic herds. Large sums are spent annually to control populations of undesirable wild mammals, a practice long deplored by conservationists. Not only do they have an impact on food resources, but mammals are also important reservoirs or agents of transmission of a variety of diseases that afflict man, such as plague, tularemia, yellow fever, rabies, leptospirosis, Lyme disease, hemorrhagic fevers such as Ebola, and Rocky Mountain spotted fever. The annual economic debt resulting from mammal-borne diseases that affect humans and domestic animals is incalculable. The hallmarks of the mammalian level of organization are advanced reproduction and parental care, behavioral flexibility, and endothermy. Endothermy, the physiological maintenance of a relatively constant body temperature independent of that of the environment, allowing a high level of activity. Within the class, ecological diversity has resulted from adaptive specialization in food acquisition, habitat preferences, and locomotion. Throughout the past 66 million years, mammals have been the dominant animals in terrestrial ecosystems and important in non terrestrial communities as well. The earliest mammals were small, active, predaceous, and terrestrial or semi arboreal. From this primitive stock, mammals have radiated into a wide spectrum of adaptive modes against the background of the diverse environment of the Cenozoic era. The last 66 million years, branches of the ancestral terrestrial stock early exploited the production and productivity of the trees, whereas other lineages added further dimensions of the mammalian spectrum by adapting to life beneath. The dependence of the young mammal on its mother for nourishment has made possible a period of training. Such training permits the non-genetic transfer of information between generations. The ability of the young mammal to learn from the experience of their elders has allowed a behavioral plasticity unknown in any other group of organisms and has been a primary reason for the evolutionary success of mammals. The possibility of training is one of the factors that has made increased brain complexity a selective advantage. Increased associational potential and memory extend the possibility of learning from experience, and the individual can make adaptive behavioral responses to environmental change. Individual response to short-term change is far more efficient than genetic response. Some types of mammals are solitary except for brief periods when the female is in estrus. Mammals modified for running are termed cursorial. The stance of cursorial species may be digitigrade, the complete digits contacting the ground as in dogs, or unguligrade, only tips of digits contacting the ground as in horses. In advanced groups, limbs movement is forward and backward in a single plane. Jumping mammals typically have elongated plantigrade hind feet, reduced forelimbs and long tails. Convergent evolution within a given adaptive mode has contributed to the ecological similarity of regional mammalian faunas. Mammals of several orders have attained great sizes and have converged on specializations for a ponderous mode of locomotion referred to as a graviportal. Well-adapted arboreal mammals frequently are plantigrade, five-toed, and equipped with highly mobile limbs. Some species, including many